She said something really funny right before she hit record. Sorry. Hi, everybody. I'm Amy,
And I'm Audrea.
and this is The Right Crowd. So grab a cup of coffee,
Or a cup of tea.
maybe a little something on the rocks, and let's get started. In openness, this is tea. Just
It's chai, right? So it's
it's
like,
chai. It's a chai ginger honey something or another that yogi. I think
oh,
it's yogi.
mhm.
I love it. So this is tea.
We used to do that. I used to say which tea I was drinking, but I'm drinking just plain old well, not plain old. It's English breakfast. It's one of my favorites today. And I just wanted to give the caveat for this recording is that for those of you watching, I have a Christmas background up because I am currently working on both a Christmas book and a Christmas screenplay. So I am thinking Christmas all the time, or I'm trying to think Christmas all the time to get in the mood to get these books out and then get the screenplay done so I can get it submitted. And I'm traveling, so I don't have my normal office background behind me, but we'll rectify that for the next recording. But let's get started. Today we are talking about 27 essential principles of story and master the secrets of great storytelling by Daniel Joshua Rubin.
So I realize we're not at the end, but we're getting there.
Through. Yeah, this is section 2. We're getting to the end of section 2, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of excited.
I'm excited too. We say it every time we go over this book, or at least I say it. I love this book. It is really helping me to, I believe, see things in story and improve the stories that I'm currently working on. And I anticipate that as I start new stories this year, new books, etc., that it will help me with those writing better stories. I mean, this book has helped with my structure. It's great for dialogue. It's great for everything. And no, Daniel Joshua Rubin is not paying us. He doesn't even know we exist. But
I mean, he can if he wants to, but no.
and that's a free book
No.
away if you'd like. But we really enjoy this book. If you've been here for the whole ride, you've heard the story from another friend who did this book in her Stop Writing Alone program, swap. And I couldn't remember what the P was for. All of a sudden, podcast. That's right. It's the Stop Writing Alone podcast. And she was doing this book, and we had her on. I think it was the first or second episode of this series. Normally, we review a writing craft book one time, or it could turn if it's a long book or it's related to productivity or something. We might have upwards of 3 episodes for a big book or something that we're
There may have been a Trudy book that we did more than 3 episodes on.
we met John Truby too. We did.
Yes.
But yes, Truby's books are not books. They're dense, they're tomes, and they're
Yes.
worthy of extended study. And
the letters are this thing.
Yeah. Next time we meet him, we just tug. But if they weren't that big,
Then the book would be like this. So yeah.
All right. So today we are talking about chapter 15, write characters to the top of their intelligence.
And chapter 16, which is mask everyone. Okay. I really liked both of these chapters. Why are you looking at me like that?
No, because I was hoping you were going to say, I really liked.
I was like, wait a minute.
I read chapter before this video comes out. I'm just going to say just a little behind the scenes. I was prepared for chapter 16 and 17 instead of 15 and 16. But it's okay because I have read and reread chapter 15 so many times, and I am such a fan of the media that he uses for chapter 15.
Yeah.
Write characters to the top
Really good.
of their intelligence, because he uses the song Stan by Eminem. And I love that song. That song is so good. So we're going to get there. So anyway, write characters to the top of their intelligence. And what was the quick take? What was your quick take on this one?
So one of the things he says, which I think is in this chapter, is make sure your characters reflect your intelligence as well,
Oh, yeah.
which I really like that he said that. However, my 2 pieces out of the quick take that I highlighted are when characters operate at the top of their intelligence, they reveal more of their true nature and become more active and compelling. I like that. And
Mhm.
then at the end, he said, think harder, smarter, longer, deeper about your choices is your best competitive advantage. And to me, when he says that, it's like you get an idea. I ran off the seat of my pants mostly. You get an idea, you write it down. Are you going to stick with it? Do you
Mhm.
like the idea? Or are you going to try to see if there's a better? Like, just because it's the first thing you think of, it may not be the best thing for that moment. It might be something you can use later, but is it where your character needs to be intellectually at that moment? I thought that was it.
That was very good. One of the other things in the quick take, and I hope you guys have been following along, but the quick take is the very first thing in the book that basically what you're gonna read. Chapter. I don't have the book. Mine is on Kindle, which is why if you guys are watching this, I keep looking off screen. But the one that I highlighted was
She's watching videos.
I'm watching Ren and Stimpy. Think about how you feel when a coworker messes up an important project, not because they don't understand it or are not up to the task, but because they just don't care. You lose respect for them. And that made me think whenever I read a book and the character does something stupid, but the character has been portrayed as intelligent or they should be intelligent and they do something that's just stupid and there's no reason. Not
Yeah.
not like they're, working on 2 hours of sleep, or there's no reason for them to have made that mistake other than the author was using it as a device for that book or that movie. I lose respect for the character, and I feel a little, disappointed or let down by that choice because that was the easy choice.
Yeah.
And in
I
this
feel like it shows the author being lazy.
Yes, it does, unfortunately. In this book and in other books, on craft that we've read, they've said, "You write down all of your ideas for what could happen next, and then don't take the first one or the second one or third one. Get down into the bottom." I think Truby said that. Daniel Joshua Rubin mentions that. It's like, make that whole list, and it's important to make that list so that the very first thing you're gonna think of is the first thing most everybody probably thought of. Unless you can do another spin on it, it's gonna be predictable and not as engaging as it could be. So I really like that for this book or this quick take for this chapter.
Yeah, I like it. I think for someone who a reader like I am, I figure stuff out without even trying. I don't want to figure it out. I want to get to the end and be like, "Oh my gosh, it all was there, but I didn't figure it out."
Yeah.
If you're using the first thing that comes to your brain, I've figured it out. I
Most
don't want to figure it out.
most
And I'm probably not gonna read too many more books if I can figure it out the whole way. I'm not entertained.
yeah. Now I, on the other hand, because I'm always entertained. No, I'm not always entertained. But if I can figure it out, that's okay. How did you execute it? If you have a different spin on that, because I read a lot of mysteries and I read a lot of cozy mysteries and I watch a lot of them. And I'm not saying there's nothing new under the sun, but I mean, since Shakespeare, a lot of things have been done. But how did you do it? How do you execute it? So that's the take that I like to see, and that's why there are things called tropes. Like the grumpy sunshine or the butler did. I watched the movie where the butler did it, but then it was so funny and done so well. I was like, that was really well done for a butler, did it? The butler actually did do it. Oh my gosh.
Did
Anyway,
he do it with a candlestick though?
all right. Anything else for quick take?
Nope.
So I had one more thing in the quick take. If the storyteller doesn't care enough to write characters at the top of their intelligence, which is what you just said, they don't care enough to give us an inspired, meaningful experience. Not cool. It actually says that on the page. That's not me editorial doing an editorial. He says that. Not cool. All right, so how it works, and that's the section where he tells us how this particular essential principle of story works. So in this version, for how it works, he's I'm sorry, you don't have to do this. I was prepared for 16.
That's okay. So in how it works, he explains basically how to make a character be at the top of their intelligence. And he talks about his example is a chess tournament and the difference between they make a blunder and it's over. But yet these two chess players are both supposed to be at the top of their game. So there's no way this chick, because he says two girls, there's no way this chick would have made that mistake. So if you make it so that it's an engaging match, and in the end, she realizes she's given it away at the end of a grueling match.
Yeah.
It's different than in the first couple of moves. She does something stupid. It's over. What are we talking about? So that's the example that he uses. And then he goes on to say that different point, he goes past that. And then he says that it's not that you can't write a character with a low IQ. You can write a stupid character. You can. But they too must operate at the top of their intelligence. And he gives the example Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Where, and this is what's funny, is I say this line at work a lot because of the way people talk at poker tables.
Mhm.
And the line is, so you're saying there's a chance, right?
Yeah. Classic.
It's not that he literally, that's the top of his intelligence. 1 in a million. So there's a chance. He's telling me there's a chance.
Absolutely.
No, there's not a chance. But his intelligence level, there's a chance. So you can write them Dumb and Dumber and Dumbest as long as the character stays at the top of their intelligence level.
Yeah.
I also think of what's the one? Is it Sling Blade? Where the guy
Yeah.
it's not mentally there.
Billy Bob Thornton. Yes.
That is a great example.
Fabulous movie.
He was stayed at the top of his the tippy top of his intelligence level in that. And it was great. They did a fabulous job. So that's what he's saying is you can write stupid characters. Just make sure you're not having them act stupid.
Yeah.
Like they can be low IQ, just make sure it fits with how you're writing your character. The other thing he says is that in order for an ending to work, you need to care about the last, it says gal standing. He's using the example of a horror flick where what are they going to do? They're going to go inside behind a door that they can get out of, or they're going to go hide. Like there's a commercial. It's not for like a movie. It's for like
insurance.
T-Mobile or insurance, where they hide behind all the cleavers in the shed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So stupid, right? Which is why we laugh about it. But he's saying that even if there's 4 people that are trying to run from this monster, I think he uses Halloween at some point. Oh yeah, he uses Halloween. There's 4 girls running from the monster. The smart girl is the one who actually lives because she's smart about it, right? So we want her to live. We care about her.
Mm-hmm.
And you write it such that she's at the top of her intelligence level. You care about her. And then the only way you're going to care about her is if you have written her at the top of her intelligence level.
Yes.
If she's stupid like the rest of them, then how did she live?
Right. That is why we have that expression, too stupid to live. That is when people, readers, or people watching the movie use that phrase for a character when they stop caring about a character because they are too stupid to live. Like in that example, those other didn't live because they were too stupid. And you don't want to write characters that are too stupid to live because, especially not a main character.
No.
Because your readers are going to want them. They're not going to care about them at all. Not only are they not going to care about them getting their goal or excising their wound or fixing their wound or whatever it is. They're just, I don't care if that character gets shot by the and if he survives because he's too stupid. He did.
Like, you're gonna be like, "About time. Why did it take so long?"
Yeah, and I have read quite a few mysteries where the characters were like, I could care less. I hope when you fall down the shaft, you break your neck so this book can be over sooner. Because you didn't alert anyone that you were going up to confront the murderer. You didn't alert anybody. Your phone is not charged. Come on. So there, anyway,
Yeah.
but so let's move on to the media that he uses, unless you have another point for.
Nope, that was it. So how a master did it was Stan, and I will let you talk about this part.
I love Stan. I love Eminem or Marshall Mathers, and Stan is a song that came out in 2000. And if you're not familiar with it, read his take on it because he explains exactly what is happening in the song, and then he goes back and then he gives you the lyrics and tells you why how Eminem executed it, which was done flawlessly, which is why that song has won awards and topped the Billboard 200 charts. So the character, Eminem's alter ego, Slim Shady or Eminem, he's getting all this fan mail from a guy named Stan who wants to meet him and get his autograph. And you see that character, the fan, Stan, getting over multiple letters or missives, getting more and more frustrated and acting out and lashing out at he goes from being a super fan to being angry at Marshall Mathers or Eminem, saying he's better than him, etc. And then he does, and I don't want to give. I guess I can't give it away. It's a song from like 15 years, 16 years ago. But he goes on to do something really stupid. He goes on to do something really bad at the end of the song. And if he had just held on a little longer, he would have gotten the result he wanted to. But the way Daniel Joshua Rubin talks about the song is that character Stan was obviously really intelligent, but he just wasn't, he just could not hold on long enough. And if he had waited, if he thought about it, he would have gotten the result he wanted. But it's an excellent song, and I had heard the song. I mean, I've got CDs. No, on my playlist, on my streaming playlist, I've got the song and I've heard it many times. But actually reading Daniel Joshua Rubin's explanation of what was happening in the song gave me even more appreciation for how it was executed as a work of fiction that is in a rap or hip hop song. So it's and
Like a little
again, we
short
said this.
story.
What's that?
It was like a little short story.
It was. It is. And what was I gonna say? Can't remember.
Sorry.
Nope, that's okay. It was me. So anyway, he gives you verse by verse going through the song, which is the way Daniel Joshua Rubin, the way he sums up the media he uses to for his example of the essential principle is X. So anyway, that's what he uses. He uses the song "Stand," and he talks about how both of them, Eminem, and in writing the song and his replies to Stan are at the top of their game. Stan is at the top of his game, but he's just not clicking on the same level as other people. And you can see that through the letters and through the verse of the song.
And at the end of that section, he says that the more intelligent you make your characters, the more interesting and dynamic they are, the better the dialogue, the more compelling your scenes, and the richer your themes. So the guy, Stan, was actually really intelligent,
Mhm.
which made it a better dialogue between Slim Shady and Stan.
And he also talks about how Eminem, through each verse, Stan is upping the ante. He's making, if I don't get your autograph, this is going to happen, or this is going to happen. And towards the end, you never responded, so now I'm going to do this. And at the very end, because of you, I'm doing this, and I'm better than you. So he goes all the way to the far extreme, again, upping that ante. And so you can see conflict in the lyrics of the song. So really good execution.
Anything else on that?
Nope. I think in this last line I had or last part of that, I had highlighted what you said. This may sound cruel to say, but it's true. Stupid people are dismissible. And it's if someone talks to you about politics, job, marriage, etc., or even insults you, if they're illogical or if they're what they say is poorly thought out, you do not pay it any mind, and then that's something that you do not ever want your readers or the viewers of your your film or readers of your book to dismiss important characters. You might write something in the case of a mystery, you might put in something to turn readers away, do a red herring on purpose, but you are doing that with intent, purposeful, not just
Right.
because you got lazy or this would help you get to the end better. Anyway, all right. So next is how you do it.
I had a couple of things highlighted. Under point number 2, you need to know where your character is at the top of their game and where they struggle. You need to know the top and the bottom of your character. Once you know what your character needs, how they think, and what can trip them up, think as hard as you can in character about the choices laid before them. So as you are thinking about what you're going to write or as you're writing it, think as if you are the character you're writing. Tap into what they would be doing, not what you think would make a good story. How have you written them? And what would they do as the character? If you don't like it, you need to rewrite character. But what is what have you said the character is like in your story?
Yeah, that's a really good one. One of the ones I highlighted, which was a good reminder for me, is that when you write your characters at the top of their game, or top of their intelligence, it's not just the main character, it's all the characters. So nobody gets dismissed. So it's your antagonist or your villain. Obviously, they have to be just as smart or smarter than your main characters so that they're not dismissed. And so do the sidekicks. You can't have a dumb sidekick just so it makes your main character look good. I mean, that can't be the reason they're dumb. There has to be everybody, like you said, has to be written to their top of their intelligence. That was one of the things I highlighted. And I forget that sometimes. I'm like, oh, this is just a minor character and she just says this. Oh, you have to really the lady is pouring the tea. She has to have more nuance than that. Or why is she on the page? You could use somebody else without a name, and we talked about that.
Secret agent man.
Where did that
You said she's pouring the tea. She's got to be doing something else. She's a spy.
Oh,
She's a
well
spy.
done. Well played. I like that. Okay. All right.
That's where that came from. Sorry. The only other thing I have highlighted in this section, I already said, and it was that your characters reflect your intelligence.
Yeah. Which is very good. One of the ones I highlighted was if a scene's not working, go back to what the characters need and study how they're going about it. And smart choices breed smart choices. So that is one that I probably will have to do with one of the scenes I'm working on is figure out why it's not working and look at my characters to make sure because I made a huge change and the huge change I made if it's not executed well, will seem super silly, and I'm gonna lose a lot of readers. But I thought I thought it was fun. I thought it was super fun. I just have to find a good way to execute it so everybody involved, again, is at the top of their game, and it makes sense. Even though
Right.
it seems silly, it makes sense for them to do it for the reasons and for their goals and foibles. Alrighty.
And then you have your mini final exam, which the answer for that one was OBS. And then the last thing he talks about is his continuing ed. It was about a play, which I didn't get. I
No,
read it
oh my,
twice,
you read it twice. Henry,
and I
Henry.
didn't really get it. I mean, I understand what he's saying, but how he got where he got there, I don't understand how he got what he got. So, but that's okay. I don't have to.
Yeah, I same way. But it was from a play from 1879 by Henrik Ibsen. But again, he gives you not just a main work to illustrate a point, but he also gives you a continuing ed in this one. as for us, did not.
For me, it didn't,
Didn't okay.
but that's okay.
That is okay. All right, so now we're gonna move on to chapter 16, Mask Everyone.
Yepper. And I only have so this is what it looks like since I'm the one with the book.
Yes.
Quick take. I only have one thing highlighted on the quick take. So did you have anything you wanted to say?
When we talk about masking everything, his quote at the top, "We all wear masks, and the time comes when we cannot remove them without removing some of our own skin." And I thought that one is by Andre. I cannot pronounce the last name, so that's Bertiom.
Oh yeah, we're gonna
So,
let you do that.
an author, yeah. So I thought that was a really poignant quote. Like when you take off the mask, don't depending on how good the mask is and how long you've been wearing it, you might remove some of your own skin. That was very illustrative. The other thing I had on the quick take was that we're all wearing masks at all times. And when you write your characters, you have to write them you have to know the reason what mask they're wearing, what are they hiding? Like, for example, his example here is the Lone Ranger. He wears a mask to hide who he truly is because he's fighting for truth, justice, and etc. Everybody's wearing a mask, not just the villain. And when I first read this chapter, I thought, well, I never thought of it that way. But when I write my characters, like for example, my main character, she used to be a con artist and she's not a con artist anymore, but when she interacts with people, she slips into some of that to make people happy or to be the person they need to be so she can exist in that room. And then
Right.
sometimes she'll wear another mask where she can fade into the background. She likes to not have the attention. And so all of those are masks that she's wearing. And then the last part of quick take was a fun one I highlighted. Things get interesting when the mask slips. And that's one of my favorite parts of reading books with villains is the villain is usually not portraying himself as a villain unless it's a cartoon or superhero movie. They're not. They are portraying themselves as a good person and they're on your side. And it's when that mask slips. And if you're the audience, I mean, depending on how it's written, once you know who the villain is, you're like hoping that the main character is going to figure it out. Oh my gosh. And so it gets really tense. That's when things get interesting. When are they going to figure it out? And once they figure it out, how are they going to get out of that? And
Are they gonna figure it out before they get killed?
yeah, one example I have from real life is I don't watch true crime or any of the reality stuff generally, but my family does. So sometimes I'll be in the room when my mom is watching scenes from a trial, court case, or when someone is getting arrested on bad boys, what you gonna do, cops? I like the movies, but she likes the real thing. And you can see there are a couple of times I've seen it when interviews with detectives in the interview room, the person says one thing and you can see a mask slip when they figure out that the person on the other side, the cop, knows they did it. And they go from, "No, man, I don't know what you're talking about," to, "Okay, listen, this is what happened. She did this." It's amazing. It's amazing how true to life that is. Okay, so how it works. Anything on this one for you that you had highlighted?
Nope.
Okay. The key factors to consider when masking characters are, okay, first of all, this is not from the book. They're all wearing masks, most likely. How it's discovered, those are the key points he says. Why it's worn, and what the mask reveals about the characters. And there are a couple of other bullet points, but as you know, we don't read word for word because you're supposed to buy the book, follow along. But those are some good points. How it's discovered, does it stay on, does it come off, and why your character is wearing a mask are really important things for you as the author to know. And when you reveal that to the characters and how you reveal it, and then what the mask reveals about the character is really important to know. Like,
Yep.
it's
I
really
love the example he used for how it's discovered. Mr. Darcy. That's all I have to say.
say more.
To Mr. Darcy from Pride and Prejudice. Like I
Yes.
love that. I love that. And what's funny is I've seen that movie 50 gazillion times. I've only recently listened to the book. I've never actually read, like, before recently when I had the Audible, I haven't read Pride and Prejudice, and it was so good. I will say at the same time, I was in, like, this kick, I was listening to a bunch of classics.
Mhm.
It's on my list last year, I wanted to read 5 classics. Sense and Sensibility, the Emma Thompson movie version,
Mhm.
better than the book, in my opinion.
Interesting. I have heard that she
It
anyway,
would To me, it
I
was better than the book. So, anyway,
no,
back to
no.
this.
Alright, so
We started talking about Pride and Prejudice, and it
and then
obviously
so
goes to Sense
off
and
to the
Sensibility.
races. Alright, so, there you go. So Mr. Darcy, for those of you who have not read Pride and Prejudice, is the main male character, love lead, interest becomes that, but he starts out being cold and arrogant.
Sharp.
He's a jerk, and then and cruel even, he seems cruel, but then you find out the reasons for it, and that mask slips, and you see that he is a person who has a lot of love and loyalty in his heart, he's defending his friends, I mean, just it's just one of those big, "Ah," moments, and then you're waiting for or not Emma, now I can't what's her name? Can't remember her name.
Hang on. Mr. Darcy and not Jane.
Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Alright, so then we're waiting for Elizabeth, the main female character, to see what's on the other side of that mask. Because if she doesn't, it will be apart forever. But of course, it ends happily. Yay. Alright, so the other thing he talks about and how it works, he talks about the 1976 novel, Ordinary People, which I did not read them. I was not even a baby when the novel came out, so I was not reading that sort of book, Ordinary People, but I
Yeah, it
did
wasn't
see
either.
the movie, and I've never liked the movie, and I never understood why I didn't like the movie because it won Oscars and the performances were lauded, but it was just, for my age, way above my head. I didn't get it, and so I never went back to rewatch it. But now, after he explains what's happening and why the mother left, it's heartrending, and now I get why I didn't like it because I didn't understand it. I just didn't. It was above my intelligence at the time when I was a child. But so very, very good examples. Don't wanna belabor that. Alright. So he talks about those main points that I said, the key factors for masks, he talks about each of those in detail in the how it works section. The why it's worn, he gives examples from Angel Heart, which is a movie that I have seen, and Angel Heart is really well done and well acted by Mickey Rourke. Talk about being at the top of your game. And then all of those key factors about masks he outlines. And then he goes into anything in those that you highlighted.
Under the part of what the mask reveals, I highlighted what we hide is more meaningful than what we show.
Yes, that's a good one.
I thought that was, and not just in story, but in our lives as well. What
Yeah.
we hide is more meaningful than what we show. And that one doesn't really matter. Okay, so for the last one, what it means at the very end, I kind of highlighted the whole last paragraph because I think the whole last paragraph of this section is great. But I extra highlighted what people do in these heightened states when fully exposed defines who they are.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah. Yeah, and again, he's referenced Angel Heart here because when he falls apart when his mask comes off because his mask that movie is really good. When his mask comes off, it's not the world outside that's seeing who he truly is. It's himself because he has blocked out things that he's done. And so that mask was protecting it. It's just a great example that he uses there. All right, how a master did it. The profile or the workshop he does here on the media is a movie or book. It is Prisoner of Azkaban.
Can you
Harry
believe
Potter.
that's almost 30 years ago?
No, it's not. It is.
1999 is almost 30 years ago. How is that possible?
I am no longer talking to you because I'm thinking it's talking about things which your brain glosses over and doesn't let you doesn't reveal how old I am by knowing the date of that book. Wow. Okay.
So he does go through the mask and how it works, and then he actually breaks it down into his points.
Yes.
And I did not I don't normally highlight anything in the how a master did a section, so I didn't highlight anything. Do you have anything you want to point out in that section?
If you read The Prisoner of Azkaban or watched it, this is a really good breakdown of all of the main characters and what masks they're wearing and what they're hiding behind. So not only the main character, Sirius or Harry Potter, of course, as a child, he's not really wearing too many masks or a mask other than he's protecting.
He doesn't even know to put a mask on in the
No,
movie.
he doesn't. It's all just natural. He's a child. But Sirius Black, he's protecting that he's a werewolf, and and then how, gosh, the names are, oh, Snape. Snape wears a mask all the way through that entire series till one point it's revealed what he's hiding. So it's so well executed by J.K. Rowling. The mask that not Sirius, that Professor Snape wears throughout the series, and then when it's removed, and what he's hiding and why he's hiding it, Harry Potter doesn't find out in this book in particular. I think it's the next book he finds out. I can't remember. I have to go back. Oh no, I might have to reread the Harry Potter series. But
Which I have not read.
I didn't think so. Have you seen the movies either? You haven't seen the movies either.
I may have seen 2 of them only because the kids I nannied
Yeah.
watched, and then not even the first family I nannied. The second family I nannied. First family I nannied, they read all the books together. The second family I nannied, they watched all the movies together. That's how far apart these 2 jobs were. But yeah, the kids could not believe I hadn't, so they made me watch. And I think it's The Prisoner of Azkaban is the one that I watched.
Oh yeah. That's a good
I think
one.
that's the one. But yeah, it's just not my cup of tea.
Yeah. I've read the books, watched the movies several times. All right. But it's an excellent example because, of course,
Yeah.
when he breaks it down, he tells you exactly what's happening. So even if you haven't watched or read it, you know how that principle is being executed in that media. So then he gets to how you do it. And
He's got a lot of really good points. I mean, of course he does, but actually highlighted a lot. But I don't know that I want to talk about all the ones highlighted.
we'll just pick 1 or 2 good ones.
Okay, so the very first one, make it personal. When does your outward appearance conflict with the truth of who you are?
That's a good one.
That's a good.
I'll give you a personal example. When I went to my corporate job, in my corporate pants, before we had business casual as a policy, I would have on these. I'd have pumps sometimes, or just, I know I have, or, with my suits, I had suits, 2-piece, 3-piece suits and whatnot. And I like the suits and I tried to give them some flair, but I am a flannel, plaid, and Henley gal most of the time, and lounge pants. That's what I prefer. And I do like wearing the yoga pants. It took me a while to get to the point where I can wear them in public on the regular. But when you're in Arizona,
I say that it's not for the public.
yeah, I know.
For me, it is not
too.
for the public.
Me too. Yeah. Anywho, all right. So that's a good one. One of the ones I picked was decide what your character is hiding and why. And that can help you with your scenes, writing your scenes, and even your dialogue, because they're hiding. It's what they often don't say, as we learned in one of the other chapters, rather than what they do say.
Right.
That is revealing more.
The next part that I wrote down is to navigate life, we have to rely on shortcuts. We assume the guy in the mailman outfit is a mailman. Use this to trick readers and viewers into buying the mask.
Mm-hmm.
So you assume he's mailman because he's wearing mailman, but is he a mailman? Is he? And I've actually seen that in movies before where the mailman's not. Actually, the movie we just watched this week, I just realized this. I don't even know how far along. I don't know how this, it could be a new movie and it's just like a B movie. And the guy who's been delivering her mail to her, as long as she's lived in this apartment, who's like super nice and like great guy, he's the guy who's been stalking her since she was a baby.
Okay, don't tell us the name of the movie.
I'm not.
Spoilers, but
I'm like,
Wow.
but
Wow.
he was the delivery guy.
That is creepy. We're gonna talk about that off camera.
50.
One of the ones, there are so many good ones in this chapter. Of course, I think we probably say that for all the chapters, but this one is really good for helping you write your books. And if you're writing anything where you have an antagonist who is a person, not nature or a whale or something like that, this book will help you to design that character better. This chapter will help you to design that character and their interactions better.
Yep.
I'm gonna give you one more. I'm gonna give you one more that I highlighted. Track every movement of the mask, how it moves closer to coming off or staying on.
I think that sounds like. Nope, I didn't write
The
that
one you
one.
highlighted, or one of them? Yeah, most of the one. I'm holding myself back from just reading all of the.
Don't do it.
How you
We're
do
just
it.
gonna wrap up. We're gonna wrap up. We're gonna be
Wrap it.
done. So the mini final exam. What's funny is I was like, they all make sense, and then it was the above. Like, oh, that's one they all make sense. And then he does the continuing ed is Brokeback Mountain, which is again another one that I wouldn't have watched. But based on what I know about the movie, it sounds like it fits right in there with the masks and all of it.
I did see Brokeback Mountain, and I read the short story that it was based on, and it's an excellent execution of the mask thing and how these two people hide who they are from everyone, even from themselves, until some crucial moments, and you can see some slippage. And that's again, there's one of the points he says is enjoy the slip. So one more. I'm just giving you one more. Enjoy the slip when you're writing, enjoy the slip. Okay.
Okay.
Let's wrap it up.
All right. So that was chapters 15 and 16. See? Okay. So the next video is going to be 17, 18, and 19 because it's the end of part 2. And we didn't want to do one chapter in part 1 and one chapter in part 3. So the next one's going to be 17, 18, 19. Again, it will post the last week of the month. And I think that is it for this one. Anything else?
No, it's not.
Oh, besides like and subscribe.
Please do. Thank you.
We love you much.